Hey, Daniel.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that there wasn't a Star Wars movie that came out like recently?
Well, yeah, because Solo came out earlier in the year, in May, I think.
Yeah. So I think in light of that, we should.
Was it May 4th? Was it May the 4th be with you?
I don't actually know that.
I think, okay.
I think you're wrong.
All right.
I think that they weren't that nice about doing things. They didn't know what they were doing.
I'll look it up.
Okay. All right. Well, because of that movie not coming out,
Yeah.
I think that we should do a Star Wars video game podcast.
Oh, to like fill the gap
Yeah.
since we don't have that's fine with me.
Yeah. One thing I wanted
I
to
like
talk
my
about.
Star Wars games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast 2. Do you remember that part when like Kylo Ren comes in?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, it's like it takes place between Force Awakens and Last Jedi, right?
No.
Oh, wait.
No.
What?
You don't have any idea what I'm talking about, do you?
The Knights of Ren?
No. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was the game?
No, I was afraid of this.
What were you afraid of? What's going on?
Daniel, you've never played any Star Wars games except for the Lego ones.
I played some Battlefront 2.
Okay. All right, I'm bringing in the backup.
All right. You're right to do so.
So today we have me and Daniel, but also our good friend Corey Tomas.
Hello.
Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself and your love for Star Wars.
Well, I'm a Star Wars nerd. I'm generally I think a pretty well-rounded nerd. I'm nerdy about many things: comic book, sci-fi, video game.
You're not just
things,
one-sided
sports.
nerd.
That's right. I like to think of myself as a well-rounded nerd.
Yeah. Appreciate that about you.
Yeah, thank you.
But like, who aren't well-rounded nerds? What's a not well-rounded nerd?
Well, I think it's,
Middle-aged guys that buy pre-faded.
I don't think it's necessarily a particular demographic that's not well-rounded nerds, but I think it's important to let your passions not just be too much into any one thing, but try to enjoy different aspects of culture.
Yeah, that's good of you. Yeah. So Corey is it's me and Corey's list.
Yeah.
And Daniel acting like he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. So just ignore.
I don't know the list, so
yeah.
if not everything on it is Lego Star Wars, then it's wrong.
So the behind the scenes version of this is that, as you know, I've been commenting on a lot of their podcasts, telling them how wrong they are about a lot of things. Daniel in particular about the Nintendo list, which
the only reason Corey thinks I'm wrong is because I based everything off of Brawl.
Smash Brothers, while a great video game series,
that doesn't mean that I got the characters wrong.
Well,
you may have.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
I think my list is pretty great.
Yeah.
Now that I've course corrected it with the Pikachu and the Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
The Donkey Kong.
The Donkey Kong.
The
Donkey
Pikachu.
Kong. Which I did do that.
Yeah.
Proper nouns.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good thing because Corey commented and has never said anything bad about my list, so that's nice.
Well, if you go back to your movie universes, that Matrix reference in my comment was targeted at you. You have it way too high on your list. You have it above Star Wars.
I think I might take you out.
You have something written by the Wachowski brothers.
There's gonna just be bleeps throughout this whole
Wait, hold on. Were you about to say you have something with the Wachowski brothers above something from George Lucas?
The only thing that exists for the Matrix in terms of their expanded universe was a cartoon movie called The Animatrix. that to me does not scream giant universe.
Well, no, and
we have Star Wars that has literally hundreds of books and comics, video games, which we'll get to, and other types of tie-ins.
Wait, the Animatrix, didn't they teach kids how to read and write and stuff?
What?
The Animatrix.
Is that?
Oh, that was the Animaniacs. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yes.
Was that a joke or was that you actually thinking that?
No, it was a joke.
Oh, okay, that was funny.
So if you need other examples of why you were wrong about that, I can provide.
So Corey, would you say that Scott Pilgrim is a better universe than The Matrix then? Because Scott Pilgrim is my number 2. I
think you could definitely make the argument for it.
All right.
Wow. What have I done inviting you into this?
To be fair, if I had thought of The Matrix, it may have been on my list. But I don't know. We've already said we're going to have to go back and redo that list.
Yeah, well,
because we got to put the Muppets on there somewhere.
Yeah, it must exist.
The Muppets should be on just about any list.
I know.
Well, that is we forgot it on this list, I think. But
no. Can you guys just put it as an honorable mention?
Is there a Muppet video game?
I used to have these little Muppet figurines where they were Star Wars characters.
That's true. Yeah.
On the original NES, the Nintendo, there was a Muppet game that me and my cousins played all the time.
Was it hilarious?
I recall it being both challenging and entertaining. So.
All right.
All right. Well, you guys gonna get this thing started, or what's going on here?
No.
Okay.
Well, so first, before we get into it, we must explain our list because it's a little different than normal. We're doing a top 10 list, but it's sort of not in an order necessarily. Yeah. It's more in categories.
Yeah. It's the top 10 games according to 10 categories. So it's really the top Star Wars game in each category.
Yeah. But then we'll do an overall best
What's funny is I was actually wanting to integrate those type of lists into the podcast. So I guess this will be our first.
Well, we did it.
First rodeo.
We did it without asking your permission.
Philip and I can Air 5 right here and there you go.
That was nice.
Daniel's no longer needed.
I could feel.
he can go into the shadows with Donkey Kong.
He's on my fixed list.
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
He is still under Diddy Kong though. Diddy Kong is better.
Wait, is he on your fixed list?
Yeah,
because you just didn't. I
took Zelda out.
You moved.
I moved Pikachu and I took Zelda out and put Donkey Kong in.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that
because Zelda sucks.
I forgot. Actually, speaking of this unfortunate redo. We said that it was going to be on episode 7 and it turned out to be on episode 8.
So for all of you 3 people who listen,
who were really pumped up and ready to go. I was putting in the numbers for the podcast, like, oh no, this isn't going to work. We made Christmas special 2 parts and it just didn't work. Daniel's just showing me a photo of a spider for some reason.
That's a big spider. Is that the one that came out of that guy's drain?
No. Oh no, it's just a wolf spider.
Oh. Are you like, is that how you get into the podcast spirit? You just
I know. I was showing people at work yesterday this and bird eating spiders.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we're gonna go through this list real quick. Not real quick. We're gonna get into it real quick right now. So Corey, which genre of video game would you like to start off with?
That's a good question. Well, how about first person shooter? That's kind of a big one of the larger
staple.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Staple genres.
Okay, let's start off with the honorable mentions.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, so you're gonna have to tell.
So my honorable mention that I think is some people, many people's hearts could be the first, but which would be Republic Commando.
Okay.
For really the PC and the original Xbox.
Okay, so I never played that one, so you're gonna have to explain.
Yeah,
to me
so
this
I mean,
game.
it was you didn't play as a Jedi, so it was a bit of a risk. It was not really Jedi related. It was you played as
stormtrooper.
It's clone troopers.
Okay. Okay.
But it was a tactics kind of squad based shooting game. And it shares a lot in terms of like kind of tone and art style with the Metroid Prime games, which is also very popular first person shooter. Looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 coming out soon. And so it did a lot of things really, really well in terms of a kind of a squad-based shooter. And it was different, Star Wars, for all of its things that does well, sometimes it's a little too Force or Jedi oriented. So it's nice sometimes to take a break and just kind of be the randos behind the scenes and see what some stories are that are taking place there. So
do you ever have to fight a Jedi as a person without Force? Does that ever happen?
I don't think that I have played it since the original when I played it when it was the X was new.
Yeah.
I don't recall a Jedi fight, but I'm sure there was somebody out there who will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
So
well, you're usually the one that does that for us.
So Heavy is the head that wears the crown. So that was our honorable mention for the first person shooter.
So you guys only doing one honorable mention for each?
There may be a couple
it's like a
that
runner
have
up.
a couple.
Yeah, yeah, but normally just one runner-up. I think that's normally what we had. All right, so that leads into our number one spot for first-person shooter, which would be Corey. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. The original Battlefront 2 on PC, PS2.
Oh, the one I used to play?
Quiet, Daniel.
No, wait, is that the one I used to play?
Yeah.
With the heroes and villains?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, cool.
This is still a very, very popular game.
Yeah. There's been like a resurgence of it, right?
Well, part of it with the new Battlefront series, when they kind of rebooted it, the new Battlefront 2, while it's I think now is actually a pretty good game, was very controversial because of their microtransaction strategy and everything. And so I think a lot of people just wanted the first Battlefront 2 to have better graphics and do a remake rather than do something new.
I mean, that was me.
Well, nobody cares about you, Daniel.
I know.
But so you can pick that. I believe it's now backwards compatible on the Xbox One. So if you're on Xbox, you can still go back and play that.
Yeah.
If not, you can play it on the original consoles or on PC. But
Cool.
That I think can easily make the claim for the best first person shooter in the Star Wars universe.
I was going to be mad if that game wasn't on your guys' list, so I'm happy.
Well, there you go.
Happy with you guys.
You can sleep soundly tonight.
Yeah. I remember playing it with. I would babysit with my sister. This group of kids. I mean, I guess they were family, but parents weren't there. You know how that works. So, yeah, and he always would play really well, and I would not. It was very sad. That's how I remember this game.
See, that's the thing when growing up, when you had friends that had games and stuff you didn't, they'd always want to play the games they were really good at because they have it and you don't. And you kind of wanted to play it because you don't have it at home, and so you're like, oh, I want to play this because I can't play it at home. And then they would just destroy you.
Yeah.
And they would, be merciless about it. And you would go back and do the same thing.
That's actually how I felt about Super Smash Brothers when I was a kid. I sucked at it.
Are you saying that because we were playing Smash Brothers Ultimate before this and you beat me soundly?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I own the game and I owned you.
Yeah.
That's how it happened.
Well, I finished all of the World of Light, so I've got that at least.
You've got that under your belt.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Now I need to play against real people.
So what's the next category?
Oh, you
Or
want
next
that?
genre of game? Yeah.
So moving on from first-person shooter, Philip, you want to pick the next category?
Let's do the arcade game.
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
Yeah. This one, I'm going to be honest. I'm basically as bad as Daniel in the Star Wars games. I'm learning. I never played the game that we suggested. So, we had a runner-up, but it's also in another category. So I feel like we shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna,
is your guys number one in another category?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the runner-up, we'll come back to the runner-up in this category when we bring it up as the winner.
Right.
looking
In
back
another
now, I should have
category.
made that category next, and then it wouldn't have been
It's
so
okay.
bad. But,
That's all right.
We can build some suspense.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
what's the winner, Philip?
Can you shut up? It's Star Wars. Just Star Wars.
That's right. The original Star Wars arcade.
Is it for the original movie?
No, I think it was released in '83.
Okay.
So I think it was actually
Return of the Jedi.
around Return of the Jedi, right before. And so, but it was vector style kind of Death Star trench run. Where you play as an X-wing pilot.
I see. Did you
So
play as
it
Luke?
still really holds up well, actually, because of the art style. Because in the Star Wars universe, you remember you would see their computers and it was that vector style. So
It's
because the
that.
game is done like that,
I
it
see.
still feels pretty.
It feels like Star Wars.
Yeah, it feels almost like an indie Star Wars game
I see.
today.
Interesting.
But I think that was '83 that came
You
out.
play
but
as Luke or just randos?
I believe you play as Luke. I don't know that they make that explicit in the game.
Okay.
I actually played it recently. I guess it's been 6 or 7 months ago now. I played it when I was a kid quite a bit at a particular bowling alley that had it, but I was somewhere and they had it. I was like, oh man. And I went back and I was surprised as an adult how much I still enjoyed it and seeing the the square shape with the circle shape to be a TIE fighter,
Yep.
and Vector, and
That's awesome.
it keeps its charm.
I like that.
Corey, why don't you give us a new category?
Man, okay, let's go to the other category.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of adjacent category, which is racing game.
Okay.
So the top Star Wars racing game, Philip.
Which I feel like
Is there an honorable mention?
I don't think there are any other ones that exist.
So no honorable mention for this category.
And it's Episode 1 Racer, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer.
Oh, it's pod racing?
It's pod racing.
Okay.
And it's awesome.
Yep.
I was watching a video of it just to remind myself of this game, and it's like I was glued to the screen just watching somebody play it. Like there's really good sound effects, like good voiceover acting and stuff. Well, for what it's like Anakin saying, "Whoa!" Like,
Whoa!
but it's really
working.
Yeah.
It's working.
Now this is pod racing.
There it is.
So better than the movie in the video game. No, it's just a really fun game. You feel like a sense of speed that's insane.
Yeah, and it's racing. It's a genre that's been done to death. It's a very how many racing games are there? But it felt
Name 3.
racing games.
Yeah. In 10 seconds.
Forza, Gran Turismo, top pole position.
All right.
Come on, Daniel.
Talk about Star Wars.
He's a well-rounded nerd, remember?
And so, I mean, especially on the arcade games, or Cruising the World, all those cruising games, which were kind of the Crazy Taxi. Do you want me to name a bunch of other racing games?
No.
And so, I mean, they all kind of do their own thing, but having something that was as a racing game in the Star Wars universe, and it felt like a good racing game, and still felt like it was a Star Wars experience. They did it really well. So it was obviously it was an arcade game, right? So it was our runner-up on the arcade category. But you could also play it on the N64, the Dreamcast, and I believe on PC as well.
Is this the best thing that came out of episode 1?
There's a lot of good video games that came out of episode 1.
So on my list, it's number 3. Darth Maul, The Score by John Williams,
and
then the pod racing game.
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
I'd say
specifically Duel of the Fates.
I'd say that's my number 1.
Yeah.
That and Watto.
Chuck Watto.
I don't remember. What is that?
He's Anakin Slave.
Annie.
Oh, that guy.
Annie.
Is that?
I like to think that you just lay awake at night.
I am proud of my Watto impression.
But yeah, so definitely, one of the highlights of episode 1 is, that game that came out of it for sure.
And I mean, I feel like maybe the pod racing in the game, the movie itself is kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a good scene.
Yeah, it's a really good scene, except for, I think you know what I'm going to say about it, but the race commentators.
Oh,
The two-headed,
I forget.
the two-headed alien, where he's 2 personalities, and they're the ones that are commentating on the race.
yeah.
So if you take that out, and there's some fan edits where that's done, and it's actually because it removes a lot of the tension in the race, especially.
Yeah.
But when you take that out, that the pod racing scene is actually a really good scene.
Yeah, the funniest part of it, there's one shot, Sebulba.
Mm-hmm.
He throws this little thing, this little nut back into bolt back into this guy's engine, and it starts smoking. And it's a close up on this creature, and he looks like a little blue dinosaur. He's like,
It's actually pretty close to the sound he makes. Yeah.
Some guy just made that noise. That'll work.
No, I used to just rewind that part. It was so funny. It was so funny to me when I was younger.
Let's talk about. Let's see the platformers.
This one will please Daniel.
This will please.
Wait,
Daniel.
what's platformers?
So you jump around on things.
kind of an adventure game.
Yeah.
Wait.
So the winner for this category.
Well, actually, since we said that Daniel's going to be excited, let's see if Daniel can figure it out what it is.
Is it Lego Star Wars?
It is.
Is it the complete saga?
Yes.
Complete saga.
Okay.
Lego Star Wars, the complete saga.
So the original trilogy would be the runner-up, essentially.
Followed by, in theory, I guess you could make that the
But the
runner-up.
complete saga is
They're
better.
pretty much the same game. It's just the stories that you can do.
Yeah. The only thing that the original trilogy game has on the complete saga is Greedo Wars.
I think you're going to have to. I know what Greedo Wars is, but you're going to have to, I think, tell the audience what Greedo Wars is.
I think we should just leave it at that.
Or we can maybe let people guess. What do you think Greedo Wars is?
Yeah, what do you think Greedo Wars is? I'll tell you either at the end of this episode or next week.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe next week.
Or maybe next time we talk about Star Wars related stuff. Who knows? But
I think about...
That is the only thing that Greedo Wars has on the complete saga. That's the original trilogy has.
And actually, I've not played many of the Lego Star Wars games. I've played demos, but never the actual game.
Part of the appeal to those as well. I mean, obviously they do a really good job of balancing the two universes, right? The Lego universe and Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And it's the complete saga. So you get, really
six.
kind of all the Star Wars stories.
Yeah.
It's also, accessible, right? So it was on PC, PS3, Wii, and Xbox 360. And I believe is backwards compatible. So currently on Xbox One as well.
Okay.
So, I mean, it also had a very large user base. So, I mean, if you were into gaming at all, you probably owned something that could play this game.
Yeah.
And so it was really popular for not only because it was well made, but also for that reason.
Yeah. I feel like anything Lego gets their hands on is just good. I don't know how that's possible.
They've been able to do a lot with simple little bricks.
Yeah. Yep. No, Lego Star Wars game is the best Star Wars game. I don't know what you guys have for your overall best game, but it's wrong because it's not Lego Star Wars.
Well, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll explain why you're wrong.
Yeah.
But
I'm checking.
You want to jump to? You want to get the RTS category? There's not a lot here in this one.
Yeah.
There was a clear winner here. RTS, real-time strategy game. The most famous of this would be StarCraft. The StarCraft games would be the most famous examples of RTS. But you have Command and Conquer. Those types who aren't familiar with that genre of video game.
Is that what? Aren't there a bunch of mobile games that are RTSs?
Yeah, it's become a really popular mobile.
Is it Clash of Clans? Is that the popular one?
Yeah.
Everybody and their mother plays that one.
Yeah. So there aren't a lot of Star Wars RTS games, but there was one on PC called Empire at War, which was a really great. In terms of what it did in the genre, it's pretty similar to playing StarCraft or Command and Conquer in those games, but you can build a Death Star.
Yeah,
that's pretty great.
Can't do that.
That's right.
Well, at least I don't know. I'm assuming you can't do that in StarCraft.
You cannot.
That was a PC title. So PC gaming isn't as big as console gaming, as much as PC gamers wish it were the other way around. And RTS is not a very big genre. So typically if you're paying for a Star Wars license or something, it's not a money maker. But this was actually a really well done game. If you're into RTS games and Star Wars, I would recommend going back and checking it out. It's an older game now, but still pretty fun.
It takes place between episode 3 and 4, right?
Actually, I don't remember the campaign story well enough to know. It might have been a lead up to A New Hope, but I'm thinking it was actually after A New Hope and between 4 and 5.
I think Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. I believe this game came out the following year in 2006.
How do you know that? What sort of?
No, I think it was.
I feel like Dana looked this up. Yeah.
I want to think. I thought it was. I thought it was earlier 2000s.
No, he looked. He literally Googled it and looked at the first thing that it says, which is Star Wars: Empire at War is a 2006 real-time strategy video game developed by Petroglyph.
Yeah,
Games.
that's why I was gonna literally read it, but I didn't know what that word was.
LucasArts, set between episode 3 and episode 4.
There you go. Mystery solved.
Well, Daniel, we now know you can read.
Okay, here, moment of truth. Did you know what the RTS category? Do you know what an RTS is? Before we talked about it,
once you mentioned Clash of Clans, then I was like, okay, I understand.
When me and Corey were discussing this, I was like, what is an RTS? I felt like a real dummy. But
and people are familiar with some RTS games, but again, it
makes sense.
A little bit of a more hardcore. It used to be more of a hardcore genre. People who were into StarCraft. It was a very even within gaming, that was kind of the nerdy genre. Yeah. Now with Clash of Clans and it becoming more of a mobile friendly type genre, it's lost that stigma a little bit. But back in the day, it was very much that was kind of the nerd category in PC gaming was
Yeah.
RTSs.
Yep.
You want to do RPG?
Yeah, let's do it.
Gotta love this one.
This is so good.
There,
I bet I can guess it based on I think I know you guys.
based on the love that Corey and I were
Yeah.
sharing in that moment.
Can I guess it?
yeah, go for it.
Is it Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes.
It is Knights of the Old
Yes.
Republic.
So good.
Oh, what a game!
What does RPG stand for?
It's a role playing game.
Oh, okay.
So you're pretending to be someone else.
I see. Okay. So this is what like Force Unleashed would have been,
No.
this category.
No, not that would have been more of a kind of a third person action game. But typically RPGs are more about a character that you can level up, right? And
Okay.
so you can choose kind of how to evolve a character. So you
Okay.
get skill points or things like that.
If you've played Dungeons and Dragons, that like all of these video games are based off of that kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, Final Fantasy VII is a one of the
Right.
more famous RPGs. But
Well, tell me about Knights of the Old Republic.
oh man, where to start?
Yeah.
Who's the main character?
So it's
You
a
are.
spoiler. I'm not going to even say who the main character is. And if you played that game, yeah, you know
you
what's
understand.
What color lightsaber does he have?
So this
Whichever
game was
one you
on
want.
was on Xbox and became to PC. Now you can actually play it on mobile as well.
You got to choose the color of his lightsaber? Is that what Philip just said?
Yeah. Well, you can do whatever you want. You could just have a gun.
There's a quest that I believe on Dantooine where you can kind of choose your Jedi type.
Yeah.
Are you a consular? Are you a sentinel?
I'm like in the middle of this game right now. Yes, you definitely do that. And you basically decide if you want to be in the light side or the dark side based on like when you're talking to people. Which
so like you choose what the game does.
Yeah, in a
essentially.
sense. It's like choose your own adventure. in
Yeah,
a
so
sense.
it has a defined story that it tells, but in terms of how you, as a character, decide to move forward in that story and your relationships with the people in that story, you get to define that. So this is BioWare, who's I mean, that's what they're famous for, which is these kind of decision-based RPGs.
I think I know how it ends.
Well, don't spoil it.
It has a great ending.
I think I know.
So
Just-
the gameplay alone, it was a very much a classic, just from the base story, the gameplay, the characters, and then the ending really kind of puts it over the top in terms of putting it into Star Wars canon as a classic. I mean, it was so popular that people were petitioning to have it be a spin-off Star Wars.
Well, I think aren't
movie.
there talks of it being made into a TV show?
Oh.
So I know they're talking about going back into that era,
Yeah.
where they're doing,
I don't
Knights
know if
of
it
the
would
Old
be
Republic.
that story, but
Right.
like
Yeah, I
around
don't
that
think it
time,
involves these
yeah.
characters. I don't know if these characters are canon anymore.
But
The Sith characters in this game.
They should be. If
but
they're not.
have the new ones really retconned that much to where if you go back 1,000 years into the past, it's really going to change all that much?
In certain aspects, in most aspects, no.
Okay.
They could still definitely have these characters
Right.
be in there if they
Because like
so decide.
technically, not Tarkin. Who's the guy that you like?
You want to be more specific?
Luke Skywalker.
No, the Thrawn.
Oh yeah, Grand Admiral
Because
Thrawn.
technically he's still part of. He's still in canon.
he is canon in the new Star Wars.
It's just not those three. Those three books.
Yeah, he's not canon. The Thrawn trilogy, which were the first officially licensed Star Wars
7, 8,
books.
9.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those stories are no longer canon.
Right,
but
but
the character of Thrawn is canon again. So if you were into Star Wars enough that you would be interested in reading some non-movie books, even though they're not canon anymore, reading the Thrawn trilogy.
I've read one of them.
They're fantastic.
Me, Daniel, has read a book.
It's because I begged you to read it.
You did
It's
give it to me.
Yeah. Heir to the Empire, I believe, is the first
Yes,
of that
you gave
trilogy,
it,
and
Heir to
it's
the Empire.
definitely worth reading all the way through. But
Pretty good.
yeah.
I think the runner-up would be the sequel to this game.
Yep, Knights of the Republic 2. Great, another great RPG, really good Star Wars game. Doesn't quite live up to the first one, but is a worthy successor.
Did BioWare do that one?
I think Obsidian did. I think that was
Okay.
done by another studio, and so there were some differences, but definitely worthy of being the runner. That's why I didn't want to say what the runner-up was,
Right, yeah,
because
yeah.
it's the sequel. But Knights of the Old Republic is our winner in the RPG category.
Oh yeah.
I'm really surprised you guys didn't pick that for overall.
We haven't gotten to overall yet.
I know, but is it one of the 9?
I will have to see.
Okay.
You'll find out.
What's next, Philip?
Let's do MMO.
Okay.
Keeping along. Well, is
What's
there a
MMO,
runner-up?
Philip?
Massive multiplayer online or massively multiplayer?
Yeah, massive multiplayer online.
Okay, I said it right the first time.
All right. What is it?
It's the Old Republic.
The Old Republic.
Keeping in line with the names.
Now, what is this game?
So in many ways, this is a MMO game of Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay.
Same type of RPG style. It's actually technically an MMO RPG. So it's just like Knights of the Old Republic in terms of you have a character, you're choosing, the stories that are unfolding and your decisions in them. But it's an MMO, meaning you're playing with, thousands of other people in this universe, and it's not just you in this computer universe. So, but it has the same kind of great storytelling and decision making. Also, BioWare game, and so it is now free to play. I believe I played this a lot when it first came out. I played as a bounty hunter. Which, I mean, come on,
Who couldn't?
Who doesn't want to play as a bounty hunter? You could also play as a smuggler, which I played as a smuggler for my alt, but. Yeah, really, really fun game. Really nails the Star Wars universe, and it's set in the Old Republic, hence the name. Which there's just a lot of really cool things about the Old Republic, and it does it really well. And also kind of built out lore and took story very seriously for an MMO.
What? So there's this thing on online.
The internet.
On the internets. Google. And it's like they're in like a temple or something. And it's like thousands of Jedis going up against like thousands of people with red lightsabers. What is this from? I see it all the time.
I believe that's one of the trailers for the game, The Old Republic.
Oh, so that's this game that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's because there's so many people online.
The cinematics for The Old Republic were fantastic.
Yeah, okay. Because a lot of the time when these really stupid fan trailers pop up and I see it, and then that clip is in there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So people think, at least I can obviously tell it's a video game, but I'm like, oh, people think that the graphics are good enough to put it into their fan-made trailer.
If you want to see some cool Star Wars stuff, just go look at some of those old trailers.
Okay.
Really cool, almost like
why are there a bunch
5-minute
of
Star Wars stories that are done in these trailers.
I thought there could only be 2 Sith.
You're gonna have to play the game.
Is that when it becomes a rule?
This is
there can only be 2?
pre-rule of Darth Bane. So Darth Bane is the one who starts the rule of 2.
Okay.
So this is pre.
Is that before he breaks Batman's back too?
In different Bane. No one cared who I was before I put on the mask.
But none of those Jedis died in Bane, right?
No, my word. That was
maybe move on.
Yeah, I haven't said.
I have a runner-up for that category, which is Star Wars Galaxies.
Yes,
by Sony Online.
Yeah.
This was a
yeah. I love that game.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. So this was, I think, the first Star Wars MMO that came out. I don't think there was one before it. It was really popular when it first came out, but like all things made by Sony Online, they ruined it.
Yep. Sony.
So there still has a very active community who are actually trying to remake the game on new servers based on when it was good. And so during its prime, it was a really, really good Star Wars MMO. The way that the Jedi worked was really interesting, how it was essentially kind of almost random. You couldn't choose to be a Jedi. You were just a character in a Star Wars universe, and you might become a Jedi type of thing. And so it very much wasn't everyone can be a Jedi, because this took place around the time of A New Hope in terms of in canon. And it's like, why would there be 1,000 Jedi running around? Right. That wouldn't make sense. Yep. And so they had a really nice solution for it. And if you were a Jedi, a bounty hunter could kill you.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't show off that you were a Jedi, because then it would basically put a target on your head. So you were kind of, even if you were a Jedi, you were in hiding a little bit, because they had permadeath. I think it was 3. So if you were killed 3 times as a Jedi, you lost your Jedi powers.
Wow.
So it was very much this kind of like, you are a secret, awesome Jedi that's on Tatooine, kind of hiding out, and you may use your powers in a pinch, at a moment of crisis, but knowing it, is going to put a mark on your head. So they did a lot of things really, really well. And then, because of fans that wanted things done differently, Sony, or just incompetent, Sony continued to change how things worked, and eventually it just became they began rewarding new players, giving particular mounts and money and things like that made it easier for players who were brand new to the game, and people who had been grinding away at this game for months and months would be wouldn't have access to stuff that brand new people would have that would be better. So they really didn't do a good job managing both the game as well as the player base, and it kind of faded away. But at its peak, actually is probably the best Star Wars MMO. But
So, quick question to both of you: if you could be one creature in the Star Wars universe, not character, so like you can't be like Jabba or Han Solo, but like one creature or culture of Star Wars, what would you guys be? Ben Johnson said he'd be an Ewok.
Oh,
but he said he'd be the king of the Ewoks.
there's a creature that like he like, it's like 2 people into one. It's not people, but they're like it's a creature thing, and it's like a little short. I don't know what it's called at all, but you have two personalities, and it's pretty cool.
What is this from?
It's in Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh.
And you just make fun of him in that video game. You can talk to him, and he's like, "What do you want?" And like the 2 options are like, "Never mind," and "I just wanted to talk about how weird you are." And so, I relate to that guy.
You'd be that guy, or that thing.
That thing.
I going back to Thrawn, I would maybe be a Chiss, which is his
race.
Species, yeah.
Because aren't they like telepathic or something?
I don't think as a race they are.
He is.
There are some telepaths, and he's not a telepath.
Okay.
As much as he's almost like the Sherlock Holmes, or the Moriarty, since he's a villain of Star Wars, where he knows more about you than you do from things that you're not even aware that.
Yeah.
So he's hyper observant, hyper intelligent, and strategically, he's really unrivaled.
Yeah, I think I would either be a bounty hunter or a Jawa.
But a bounty hunter isn't a species.
Well, it's like a
Come on,
job,
Daniel.
though. Or a Jawa.
You're gonna be a Jawa.
I'd like to live that junker life.
You just want to live in a sand crawler.
Yeah.
Go around, find droids, fix them up.
I'd be like one of the taller Jawas, but I would be a Jawa.
You're super Jawa.
Sell some droids to, Uncle Owen.
Yeah. Be awesome. Yeah. And I bet they're just hanging out on that big old thing all the time.
You just like the golden, like glowing eyes, and like no face.
I bet they just play poker and stuff. I bet it's a good old time on that little rolling thing that they have. All right. What's next?
Flight sim? Have we done that one yet?
No, haven't done
flight sim.
Flight sim. So flying.
Simulator. Okay.
Simulator.
What is it, Philip?
It is Rogue Leader 2. Is that right?
Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader.
I'm sorry. It's too many words.
We've gone rogue with the title of Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader.
Yeah.
For the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah. And this one, I played the Nintendo 64, the original one.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I never played the GameCube version.
Which is, I think, really the runner-up in this category is the first Rogue Squadron on Nintendo 64. It really kind of nailed the genre, and you got to, fly as an X-Wing and a B-Wing and an A-Wing and I think all the letter wing.
I like the Y-Wings.
The Y-Wings were cool, yeah.
After I played that game, all I wanted was the Lego Y-Wing. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I had a Y-Wing growing up.
They're really cool.
The durability of those Y-Wings just were, in that game, you were just like, yeah, I'm a tank. Yeah. I'm just going to go and just do damage.
But you were slow.
Yeah, but you were slow. So, yeah, Rogue Squadron 2, the sequel, Rogue Leader on GameCube, is our winner. It just took everything the first one did and made it better, and the graphics were obviously improved. The jump from GameCube from the 64 to the GameCube was pretty noticeable.
Yeah. Was there much of a story, or did you just kind of?
There was like a campaign you could play through. The controls were just so fluid. Just felt like you always did what you meant to do. And a lot of the, flying sims and games, it's you feel like you're flying a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
You're like, no turn.
Is it this?
And so
that's it.
That it really nailed the what you hoped it felt like to fly an X-wing or a Y-wing.
So that leaves our last category, I think.
Did we do third-person adventure?
No.
That's the one that I was saying is our last category. Oh, I'm sorry.
Second to last.
Second to last before
we get
overall.
to overall.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Why don't you? Do we have a runner-up for that one?
Lego games.
I guess that could
No.
be.
So we put the Lego games into platformer. So for third person, we went with Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
Mm-hmm. The one that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast.
I thought you said you weren't going to mention one.
The runner-up would be Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2.
Yeah.
That would be the runner-up.
What's it called? Jedi Knight what?
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. It was on PC, GameCube, and Xbox.
Yeah. So this game, I had never played.
This looks familiar.
I never played a Star Wars game, and then my buddy was playing it at his house, and he's like, "Hey, you want to watch me play this video game? Because it's definitely not a 2-player game." Mm-hmm. And I just watched him play it, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so interested in this. I want this for myself." So I went out and bought it.
When does this take place?
I believe this is between 4 and 5. Kyle Katarn was kind of the video game hero for Star Wars during this era.
Yeah.
But Darth Maul's in it.
In Dark Forces 2?
Yeah.
No.
Or sorry, in Jedi Outcast?
Yeah.
No.
I found pictures.
I don't think he's in the story.
That might be somebody like modded it to have him in there.
You could do skins. And so people did different skins.
I see.
In that game as well.
Okay.
But the Jedi series, whether it was the first Jedi Knight or Jedi Knight 2, Dark Forces, they all just kind of nailed I get to be a Jedi, I can use guns, I can use the Force, I can use a lightsaber.
There's like a bunch of guys with green lightsabers.
Yeah. That's like online, I think.
I like that.
I was telling Philip we had I had a small group of friends where we were really into Dark Forces 2 competitive. So we would MSN, for those of you who are young, it used to be a news thing. So MSN had a gaming ladder, that was where they would rank. It was, to be competitive. And so we would try to rank on the MSN ladder for Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so we were super competitive at that game. But so those during its era, the Jedi Knight games were the Star Wars video games experience.
Yeah. What's cool about it too is like you start off not having any force powers. And it's like a first person shooter, and you're just away you're going, and then all of a sudden
I'm a Jedi.
You become a Jedi, and you've got a lightsaber, and you're doing Force lightning.
I believe Kyle Katarn was an Imperial officer originally, and then he becomes
really?
turncoat. Yeah. And he joins.
Oh, so this is where that character's from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And when he dies, he goes, it's great. I just
did you just spoil the game, or does he die throughout the game?
Like when you die as a character.
Oh man, we used to. So in Dark Forces 2, you could do these ladder matches, competitive, and so they were you'd have a moderator and people who would kind of oversee the competition, and you could do no force or force on. So some people were just into lightsaber dueling, in these games. Some people were really into, the whole gamut where mano type of thing. So, but I think the most competitive was where you would do no force sabers, and it was just a straight up lightsabers battle.
A duel.
And you'd get it. We'd go into these rooms where it was, hey, everybody, no force, just sabers only, and you would you would have mods, and so you would, have force disabled, but you would still have your force powers, and so you would just mess with people.
Oh man,
to make it look like they were just going crazy, and you'd use the force to pick them up and like drive them across the map, and they'd just be typing, "Help me, he's cheating." The early days of griefing in those games.
Yeah. Oh, and I remember that there was a mod that you could make it realistic. So when you use the lightsaber, the stormtroopers' legs would get chopped off and their arms. It was awesome.
Oh, geez.
Oh man, and it would look pretty realistic.
Like
Not
that.
bloody, but just like a clean cut.
I remember installing. There was another nerd side. There was a Dragon Ball mod that somebody had made.
What?
They would hide. There were 7 Dragon Balls throughout the map, and if you found them, you'd call it the Eternal Dragon, which was super cool.
Awesome.
We'll have to do a Dragon Ball episode at some point. Yes.
Corey, have you had that hat on this whole podcast?
I have. It's a little warm in here, so I've kind of tucked it behind my ears, but I've had this.
Oh, that's why.
had it like
Okay.
this,
It
and
looked
then-
like you had a beret on.
Oh no, it's just a beanie that's pulled back a little bit.
All right. Well, what's your guys' best? What's your guys' wrong answer for the best overall?
Well,
So before we do that, I realized there was a slight correction. We had said that there wasn't a runner-up for the platforming genre. We did have a runner-up, which was the Super Star Wars series for the Super Nintendo.
oh right, yeah.
So Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi.
Those are fun.
Those were super fun, really challenging. Some just kind of random. Back when the games would take liberties, and you'd be like, "Why am I fighting a giant scorpion?" Like when did Luke ever do this? But super fun being able to play through the stories on those games. Those were at the time pretty popular and still really fun platforming games.
But it's
Super
not-
Empire Strikes Back is my
But it's
favorite.
not even close to the complete saga.
Well, maybe one day you can go back and play Super Empire Strikes Back and let me know what you think.
All right. Well, what's you guys' number one?
So our winner
Yes.
for the overall best Star Wars game of all time, Philip.
It is Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, way to ruin it earlier and be like, "Well, wasn't that your overall category?"
I was very surprised that you guys didn't pick it.
Well, we did.
We sure did.
You were
All right.
wrong.
Yeah.
For all the reasons we mentioned earlier, character, story, gameplay, it is far and away the best Star Wars game that's been made. I think most people would be glad if they just made a movie of that game.
Yep.
They'd be fine with that. And it tells a really big Star Wars story in a way that you feel like your decisions matter. Like when you talked about, you go through and you can decide. And, it does a really good job of balancing a story that they're telling while still honoring all the decisions that you make about the character.
One thing
in your playthrough.
One thing I noticed. So like right now I'm playing through it, like I said, and I've just decided every decision I make will be a dark side decision. And so, but it's way easier. The game is so much easier if you play as the dark side. Which is, I like that they did that because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like the light side. It's like hard to be.
Not more powerful, but it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Knights of the Republic,
disagree.
and again, it's on mobile.
I disagree. The dark side is more powerful.
Oh, we're gonna have to
Even though
do a
Yoda,
top 10
even though
episode,
Yoda,
reasons why you're wrong.
even though Yoda says it's not, I disagree with him.
Yeah, and I know that everybody picks this as the number one Star Wars.
Yeah,
video
I
game,
think-
but, it's
But there
just
must be a
right.
reason
Yeah,
why.
it's just right.
Yeah.
It's number 2
No,
after the Lego Star Wars games.
Again, this game is still pretty accessible. If you haven't played this game and are interested at all, you can play it on PC. You can play it on the Xbox One through backwards compatibility, I believe.
and it's on
and it's on
Game
mobile.
Pass.
Sorry?
It's on Game Pass right now.
Yeah, it's on Xbox Game Pass. So if they probably have $1 trial if you have it on that, so you can play it for $1.
Maybe I could play it.
You sure could.
I believe it's even on iPad. I think they have an iPad version of it as well.
they do. I hear it's buggy.
Yeah, well,
But
I
the
wouldn't
whole game is
recommend
buggy.
playing it. It's a longer game. It's an RPG, so it's a pretty substantial game in terms of length. I'd guess 12 to 15 hour playthrough.
Yeah, I mean,
But, you can take longer or
Yeah, you
shorter
could
if you
take
wanna.
years.
Yeah,
wanted to.
but definitely should check it out. If you're on, like I said, if you're on Xbox, get on Game Pass or just go and buy it. It's on sale pretty regularly.
Yep.
or play it on mobile or on PC if you're into that. But definitely, and if you do play it, you have to let us know what ending you had, what you decided.
Oh, that's right. It like can end differently.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do know
cool.
that.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think probably has, you have the Star Wars, the twist of Vader being Luke's dad. I would say Knights of the Republic has the second biggest story twist in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
just behind the Vader being Luke's dad. So the ending is definitely worthwhile. The game is fun. It's great, lead up all the way to it, but it definitely feels like you get rewarded for making it all the way through.
I don't know. I think the biggest twist in Star Wars is that Padme actually fell in love with Anakin. Because throughout all of Attack of the Clones, she's just toying with him.
Right.
And then apparently they fall in love at some point. It's probably when he's riding on the back of that thing.
Well, I mean, what's the age difference is 5 years, I think, in universe?
9?
In episode 1, he's right 9 and 14. So, I mean, it seems really weird because in episode 1 it looks really weird. In episode 2, you're like, oh, he's what, in his late teens, early 20s?
But that whole Attack of the Clones, she's like kissing and she's like, oh, but I shouldn't have.
I'm a senator. That's not
I'm a
stopped
senator.
any senator.
Why can she not date?
I think.
Well, I mean,
Senators
Jedi
date.
weren't supposed to
Right,
date. And there
but
aren't no
she-
attachments.
Yeah,
I think Red Letter
no
Media
loving.
pointed out like she should have been the one that was trying to get with Anakin,
Right.
And Anakin have been the more resistant one,
Yeah.
and then that would have been more character driven.
Well, I think overall you could just go in and take every character decision in the prequels and just reverse them,
Yeah.
and you'd probably get a better.
I think he made the same point about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan should have been the one that wanted to train Anakin, and Qui-Gon have been like, no, that's not good. But then once Qui-Gon dies, Obi-Wan is left without guidance. He's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, let me train this boy.
That would be better. If only.
Yeah, there's the new Darth Vader
If only the
comics have
prequels
some
were
really
good.
interesting. Have kind of touched on his origin story
But
from episode 1. The new Star Wars Darth Vader comics.
oh, interesting.
So yeah, if you're into that at all, but they touch on Anakin's father and Qui-Gon and what Qui-Gon really thought about Anakin in terms of the prophecy and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely it was a nice little expansion to that time
story.
period.
Cool.
But
Well, Philip,
I think this is the end.
this is the end for sure.
We've made it to the end.
I just want to go play Knights of the Republic now.
I know you should.
I want to go play Lego Star Wars now. Just kidding. I actually kind of want to go play Super Smash Bros. Tonight.
Well, we can make that happen.
Maybe we will.
Let's do our ending then.
Okay, yeah. What's some stuff that we need to talk about?
We
Thank
need-
you, Corey, for coming on the
Yeah,
show.
thank you.
Thanks for having me.
I think we're gonna have you back in like April to talk about some Infinity War stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, unless you hated this, and then in which case we'll force you to be on the show. We won't invite you.
Perfectly balanced. As all things should be.
Thank you to Krisha Bell on iTunes for rating us, saying that she loves listening to the nerdy banter and that this is a great podcast to listen to while working. I get the feeling that's not Krisha, and I think I know who it is, but we won't say who it is.
Identity theft is a serious crime, Jim.
It's a very serious crime.
Millions of families suffer every year.
Yeah. Dana, what else do we have to say?
I messed up more
Even more.
on the Christmas Carol. Robert Marley is not even his name. That's only in the Muppet version. The real name of his partner is Jacob Marley. I apologize. Bob Marley is the guy that sings music.
Marley.
So I'm sorry about that. Also, we brought up the Pikachu thing.
We brought up the Pikachu thing. But I would like to say that no one attempted to answer the top 10 Christmas songs in between. Just like I said,
Yeah, you said that.
I said it and I knew it because nobody
No one
listens to our
listens to
podcast.
us.
Yeah. So, but you know what? More people can listen to us now because we're on Google Play.
And we always joke about you guys giving us money, and now you actually can.
You can.
Because we have a Patreon.
Yeah. So if you search for Classic Countdown Conversations on Patreon, you can find us.
And our Patreon's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So like,
so what do they get? What do they get access to here?
They
if they're
get
Patreon subscribers.
If you
Tell 'em.
If you give us
Tell them, Philip.
$5 whole a month, you be our best friend.
That's one Little Caesars pizza a month.
That's right.
It's not that difficult.
You know that people
or
always
I
say,
do
or a
that.
lunch combo.
Or a lunch combo, yeah.
Yeah.
I do that.
give up a meal so that we can have more.
And
meals.
you know what? Cook something that night.
Yeah,
Spend some time with your family.
that's right. But you get exclusive monthly videos about our podcast. So
Yeah.
we'll make a little video. We'll send it your way.
Maybe behind the scenes of our studio. Maybe us coming up with some stuff outside the studio.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
It'll feel
Maybe you guys playing Smash Brothers.
Who knows? Yeah, it'll
And
I'd
just
be interested in
talking.
that.
We'll talk to you specifically.
Yeah, probably because there's only going to be one person that does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the second tier, and there's only 2 tiers right now. Maybe there will be more if people really want to give us money. And this is for $10 a month or more. You get to be our best friend. You also get to have those monthly videos, but you get a yearly gift from us.
Yeah.
This year, 2019, your first gift will be this a beautiful Classic Countdown Conversations mug
With our logo
it's
and
got
everything.
our logo on it. It looks pretty cool. I want it myself.
Very cool. When do you get the mug? Is that when you become a $10 a month Patreon subscriber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like at the end of your first year.
No. Well, we'll decide that.
Okay.
We'll let you know.
I want to know when I get my mug, guys.
I think it would be right away, Daniel. That would be mean to not give
I'm
it.
gonna have to evaluate your costs on your mug and see what your
The mug is
break-even
pretty cheap.
Yeah,
The mug is cheap.
We'll cut
but
this
high
out.
quality.
It's very. I mean, yeah, the best mug you'll ever $10 can buy.
That's right.
And
Every
and,
sip is gonna feel like $10
Yeah.
going right back into your
yeah.
system.
So and then going right out of it because coffee makes you go.
And you know what? Maybe we'll send you a letter,
A handwritten letter by Daniel because I'm not writing it.
and it'll be signed by Philip.
I'm happy to sign it.
Which
yeah.
letter? There are 26.
Oh, that's
Probably X, but Q is also cool. Those are the coolest letters.
Does Q and also include a silent U?
Maybe if I'm in the right mood.
Because that's a deal.
So
in
yeah,
that
if you go to patreon.com/classic countdown conversations, and I know that's a long URL, but you'll figure it out. You know how to type because you got to listen to this podcast
Yeah.
in the first place. So you can find us, or I think if you just search in Google for Classic Countdown Conversations, it'll come up. But
I thought I heard a rumor that you guys were also coming out with a YouTube channel.
Yes, and we have a Patreon for that as well. It's called Wingspread Productions.
oh, that's true.
Would you like to bring that up, Philip?
So for $5 or more a month.
What are the names?
Oh, I'm
of the
sorry.
tiers?
For the casual moviegoer tier. Goer tier. There's there's a little dash in between there. You get exclusive behind the scenes videos.
So-
And laughs for you and you only. I'm curious about that one. I might become a
Laughs for
Patreon
you and
just
you
to
only?
know what that is.
It'll be some special bloopers. Maybe me just doing a stand-up routine by myself. Who knows what Who knows what it is? Probably bloopers.
and then for $10 more a month,
What's the name of that tier?
you get to be part of the For the Movie Buff tier.
You're a movie buff.
And that's exclusive behind the scenes videos. Laughs for you and the casual moviegoer to share together. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice. And then props from the films.
Yeah. So if we're doing shorts or full length films, whatever it is, we'll send you stuff that we're using.
Yeah. So to be clear, this is not necessarily Classic Countdown Conversations. This is Daniel's
Wingspread Productions.
video thing,
We work together,
but separate.
yep.
It's kind of like,
Don't.
that's it. Yeah. Give us some more money.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Basically,
Give us enough money to where we can make this our full-time job.
yeah. I mean, that's the dream. I don't think it'll happen, but that's a dream is a good thing to have.
Martin Luther King Jr.
A dream is a wish your heart makes.
That's right. Yeah. So there's a lot of quotes about dreams and how they're good. So we like to do that.
Is that Disney?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else is there?
No, it's Corey.
Michael
Scott. Wayne Gretzky. Michael Scott.
Is there anything else?
Yeah. You can. We don't. Well, Wingspread Productions has a Instagram.
Yes.
So if you'd like to,
And a Twitter account.
really, do you guys do anything on Twitter?
Mitchell's supposed to.
Okay. Well, so we've got our slave Mitchell doing some Twitter.
And probably a Facebook account as well. Are people still on Facebook? Is that worth it? Is that worth doing stuff on there?
All the Russians are on there, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it works.
All right. Maybe that.
We do have a Chinese listener.
Do we really?
I believe so. So that's probably a robot
Oh,
or somebody
okay.
spoofing it to China. It's probably Corey, actually.
Curse you, VPN.
And then
I thought I'd heard a rumor about a YouTube channel specifically for the countdown conversations.
Corey heard that from himself to Daniel.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah. Maybe.
I'm just saying, I think you guys got some pretty good. You got a great space here. You've got some good banter. You've got some nice little, casual outfits going on. I think people would like
that
to.
might be the special behind the scenes stuff.
Well, there you go.
That
So
you get if you give us money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you give us money, that rumor may become truth. It might become worth our time to do videos. So if you want that to happen,
I will give you all the cash in my back pocket.
I don't know how much cash do you have in your back.
It's greater than $0.
Well, that's better than none dollars. I think that's it. Well, yeah, just rate us all the time. All the time, rate us.
Where can they rate us at, Philip?
You can rate us now on Google Play. You can rate us on iTunes. I believe any of your favorite podcast platforms will probably work.
Where else?
Also on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Have a good week.
And thank you, Corey, again for joining us.
Anytime. May the force be with you.
And thank you. And you as well. Sometimes.
Happy New Year.
All the time.
Happy New Year.
Happy Life Day.
This is actually coming out after the New Year.
But I don't think you said it on yours.
I didn't say it on mine. So yeah,
Happy New
late
Year's.
Yeah, today is the first that we're recording this. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's.